Should you own a classic Mustang? The short answer is yes, but let's discuss the 5 reasons why I think you should own a classic Mustang. A 1968 Ford Mustang Fastback. As some of you may know, I think I've gone through enough to tell you guys exactly why you should buy this Mustang or buy any type of classic Mustang. So let's get right into it. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. We are doing an awesome build with this Fastback, doing a full coyote swap, as well as many other awesome projects with this Mustang, and I promise you will not get disappointed. Subscribe to the channel and follow the build. These are my top 5 reasons why I think you should own a classic Mustang. The number one reason why I think you should get a classic car, a classic Mustang, is just because of the looks and the styling. They do not make cars like this anymore. This is history. This is a piece of art. The vintage styling, the vibes that it brings back, the classic design is just one of my favorite things about this car. There's just so much attention when it comes to this car. I just love it so much. And not just with Mustangs, don't get me wrong. The Challengers look awesome. The Corvettes look awesome. The Chargers look cool. The Chevelles, the Lowriders, the F100s, the old classic cars, they just have their own unique styling, and they are just one of a kind. They're their own breeds that you just cannot access today. That is one of my favorite things about this car. It just brings you back to the 60s. Of course, this car is way older than me, but owning this car just enriched me in what they went through back in the day. I just love it so much. This is my dream car. I just love the retro styling of this. They don't make cars like this anymore. It is just one of the best designs, in my opinion. It's the artwork, it's a piece of history that you just cannot get anywhere else. And let me tell you, when I drive this, all eyes are on me. Driving next to Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls Royce. Yesterday, I actually had a guy in a Rolls Royce Wraith convertible driving down Pacific Beach roll up to me and give me compliments on this car. This car is just something special. It has some type of vibe to it that a lot of people, everybody can relate to, and that's not something that you could get nowadays with cars. Everybody can relate to this car. Everybody loves the styling of this car. It is just a show stop. Which leads me to the second reason why I think you should own this classic or a classic car in here is how much attention it gets. The attention is overwhelming. I cannot tell you how many compliments, thumbs up, pullovers, everything that has happened here driving in this car. It is a true experience that I personally have not even experienced with my Shelby GT500. Yes, this car gets way more attention than Shelby GT500, and honestly, I love this car a lot better than the Shelby GT500. This is probably my most favorite car I have ever driven in, even experienced and owned here, and I'm gonna keep this car for a very long while. That's why we have some awesome plans with it. Another reason why I think you should own a classic car is because it's just so much fun to drive. There's nothing like cruising in this car. There's nothing about feeling a nice old school pushrod motor. Even though I have a 289 V8, I also just like to turn off the music sometimes and just listen to the authentic raw power of these pushrod motors. She's definitely not the fastest. She doesn't have the most torque. She's not Ole Miss reliable, but let me tell you, this classic car puts a bigger smile on my face than my 2014 Shelby GT500 with 1,000 rear wheel horsepower. And that's something I can honestly say ever since owning this 1968 Mustang. I don't know what's about it. I don't know if it's the vibes, the style, the sound, the way the motor performs. I just love it. This is my new passion, my new love. I think I'm gonna stick with the old school now. I don't know. I've been driving this car a lot. I love it so much. The driving experience is just so unique. It's like no other. I just can't explain it. You just have to drive one yourself. But I can promise you one thing. There's nothing, no experience like driving a classic car. And yes, you heard this right. Driving this car is a lot funner than driving a 1,000 horsepower vehicle. From a personal experience and a personal standpoint, I'll take this car over 1,000 horsepower Mustang any day. Another reason why you should own a classic Mustang or any classic car in general is because of the simplicity and how easy they are to work on. Let me tell you that with a simple flathead screwdriver, I was able to fix a majority of my problems. With this flathead screwdriver, I was able to fix my carburetor, I was able to fix my distributor cap and rotor, and adjust a lot of my interior, as a majority of these are Phillips screwdriver or even a flathead screwdriver. I was also able to swap out the full headlight assembly with this thing. I was even able to swap out my fuel filter with a simple screwdriver set. How crazy is that? Another tool that I fixed so much on is a basic socket set. I was able to swap out my full alternator. I was able to swap out my voltage regulator. I was able to swap out my ignition coil, battery terminals, my full wheel assembly from the rotors to the calipers and even to the wheels themselves, the chin spoiler, lights, and just so much with this simple tool. It is honestly the easiest thing to work on. They are so easy to work on. With a basic deep socket set and a screwdriver set, you can do so much with this thing. That's why I think you should do it. And there's just so many videos on YouTube, so many forums out on there. Even my YouTube page has a lot of comments on how to fix a majority of my problems. So the information is out there, and it's honestly so easy to work on these cars. And that's why I love these classic cars so much. A majority of labor can be done within about 2 hours, so it's not like you're taking a long time to do it. Alternator took me 15 minutes to install, voltage regulator took me 5 minutes to install, fuel filter took me 10 minutes to install, distributor cap and rotor took about 30 seconds to install, the ignition coil took about 30 seconds to install, the lights took about an hour to install. Even my full wheel assembly only took 2 hours to install, and that is caliper, brake pads, rotors, hub assembly, bearings, and all, even with the wheel. That is pretty cool. The chin spoiler took about 10 minutes to install. They're easy to install, very quick to do, fix, whatever maintenance you need to do. It's honestly mostly common knowledge, very easy to work on, lots of information online, and parts are super easy to get, which leads me to the next reason why I think you should own a Mustang, is how easy these parts are to get for these classic cars. Luckily, to my surprise, when I first brought delivery of this Mustang and I encountered my first problem, all of the parts were readily available at nearly every single auto parts store around me. Just be careful on which parts you get, because some cheap parts can cause problems, like I personally have experienced with my full ignition system when I got a cheap coil burnt out my full igniter. So just be careful what parts you get, but most of the time they are in stock and they're ready to be installed. When my car goes down, it's a simple one trip to the auto parts store. Usually Napa Auto Parts, O'Reilly's tend to be the best. And even if Napa or O'Reilly's doesn't have it, Summit Racing is the go-to. On top of that, the parts are also so inexpensive. Like for instance, a high-quality Pertronix Flamethrower 3, only 40 bucks. A distributor cap and rotor, 15 bucks. Alternator, 40 bucks. My voltage regulator, only 30 bucks. Headlights, styling, everything that you can possibly get for a Mustang is actually very inexpensive. So you could customize your car exactly how you want it without breaking your wallet. Get that sound anywhere else besides an old school classic pushrod motor. The 289 is nothing special, I'm not gonna lie. Hear that puppy roar. You don't get these motors anymore. Owning one of these is probably one of the coolest, most unique things that you could do. They have their own sound, their own rumble, their own torque. Very torquey. That's what makes it so much fun. They're raw, they're mean, they're aggressive, and they rumble. Another reason why I think you guys should own a classic car is because of the car culture. Nobody has come close. Well, the Shelby department, the Shelby community is on another level. They are very, very knowledgeable, very helpful, very friendly. The car community in the first generation Mustangs is beyond supportive. People are coming up to me, bringing me in, helping me out. Shout out to Craig 909. Shout out to a lot of people around in San Diego area that has just helped me out with this classic car. The car culture is just so opening, so welcoming, a lot more than modern day Mustang. Car culture here with these classics exceeds my expectations by far. You get age groups from super young to really old. You have different type of builds, different types of supports, different types of styling. I've never felt more embraced in this particular community, and it's just so big. I did not know how many people there were, and ever since bringing this introduction with Beverly, so many more new subscribers have come through, and I really enjoy seeing and experiencing new ideas, new people, and new builds. And honestly, this culture for the first generation Mustang, and as well as other classic cars, is definitely something to experience. I highly encourage everybody to at least own a classic car, to experience what it is to be a part of history, to own such a unique piece of art, and to drive and get behind the wheel of this beautiful, beautiful car. So if you can, by all means, at least experience it once in your lifetime.